This is how erectile dysfunction silently.
On air every evening, the whole world must listen. As long as we preach this very gospel, Chukwokika Abiyama must be with us. Therefore, without any further hesitation, we must proceed to offer every prayer to Chukwu Okike Abiyama who resided in heaven. Therefore, as we always commence, not from today, but from of old, our Father who art in heaven, nna anyị nke bi n'eluigwe, ka aha gị dị nsọ, that your name may be hallowed by men, that we may bow at the mention of it, that we may offer every glory unto thee, that we may offer you every adoration and adulation, because there is none like thee. You fight our battles for us. Every blessed day you demonstrate through your kindness and your everlasting mercy that you are our Lord, our God, and our Creator. This evening we offer these your children unto thee all over this very planet that you created. They are listening across the entire 24 time zones on this very planet where they inhabit. They are listening to your gospel this very evening, this gospel of redemption, a gospel of hope, a gospel of restoration, a gospel of renewal, this very gospel of freedom, this very gospel of emancipation as only you ordained. That this very gospel must be preached, that mankind may be set free from the eternal damnation of the creation of the British. My goodness me, I want to remain in the spirit because we must worship heaven. We answer your name, O Lord of hosts. Everything about us is designed to offer glory unto thee. We have atoned for our sins last year. This very year, we have not only atoned for our sins, we have spilled, we have shed blood, they have shed our blood. We have let our sacrifice be made unto thee. Even on the 30th of August, as we are being felled by the bullets of the enemy, by the workers of iniquity and of darkness, we remain very strong today to beckon upon thee, to ask you for your mercy and for your grace, to ensure that your kingdom is restored upon the face of the earth, that you can bring your healing hand to bear upon the life of those of them that you created for one singular purpose, and that purpose alone, which is to worship you in truth and in every honesty. Is there any way that we have erred? Is there any way that our ancestors may have sinned? We confess before a congregation of the whole of humanity to ask you, O Lord of hosts, to have mercy upon us. You must have mercy upon us. We have suffered enough. We have been subjugated enough. We have been tortured enough. We have been imprisoned enough. We did not do these people anything. Our only crime is to answer your name. Our only crime is to be born your children. Our only crime is to excel at everything that we place our hands into. Our only crime is to exhibit your glory and your blessing, which manifestedly is upon our lives every blessed day. That is why they want to kill us. That is why the British want to join those of them who don't know you to destroy your creation and your inheritance. You will not allow shame to befall your name. You will not allow the enemies to triumph over the lives of your children, because you created us to exist, to worship, to honor, and to praise you. That is exactly what we are going to do when this Biafra comes. It will come in truth and in every honesty, because we remain every blessed day whiter than white and whiter than snow. Is there any way that we have sinned that you cannot forgive us our trespasses? to enable us to fulfill your own word, which was spoken thousands of years ago, that instead of what you promised not to come to pass, that heaven and earth will cease to exist. You opened your mouth to bless mankind to the coming of Yahweh Yeshua, who came here and said, let your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Those words can never be in vain, because they are anchored upon your holiness and your magnificence. That is why in the end we know that Biafra will come, that these children that we have given birth to all over the world, and their children, and their children, and their children, as long as they give birth to them and they are Biafrans, they will worship you in truth and honesty. Through this very work we are doing, mankind will come to understand you. Let your miracle be wrought in our lives. Let us witness and behold your magnificence, your holiness, your mystery, and your grace under our command. O Lord of hosts, we call upon you. We call upon you to heal. We call upon you to provide succor to those of them who are inconsolable. We ask you to come and strengthen those who are weak. We ask you to restore hope where there is hopelessness. We ask you for inclusion where there is destitution. We ask you for one brotherhood, one camaraderie, one bone, one blood, and one flesh of your children. The Efiks and the Bibios, the Ison, the Shekiri, the Isobos, and also those of them from Isoko. We are traveling all the way to the lands of Igala. We are moving on from there to Idoma, to Igede, to the territories of the Igbo land. All these places we dedicate unto thee. All these lands of yours, we ask you to cover it with your mercy, because Biafra will come, and when it does, we will dance on the streets. I'm telling you, by the time that we are done, humanity will think that we are mad, we are drunk in your glory, and rightfully so, because your kingdom will come to rest upon this very earth. That very kingdom is the unadulterated, non-negotiable sovereignty of the Republic of Biafra, that your will may be fulfilled in our time. All this we pray, all these we ask for, in no other name apart from that name that belongs to you. He said,
you have already know who he is without wasting time. And I welcome you to this program today. As I welcome you, I only ask you to welcome another person to join us to follow keep in on this program today. What we are doing today is that we want to let the world to understand what we are and why we are doing what we are doing. We are only doing this to let the world know that the Biafran people have decided to get it right. That in over all these years, we are on the wrong track by believing that only protests on the street will give us Biafra as a country. We come back to realize that we are making a very big mistake since all these years, that we have been believing that we have been believing that, oh, if we on the streets and having protests, that we will achieve Biafra as a country without doing the proper thing. And the only proper thing at this stage we have realized is what Simon Epanjoko introduced to us as the people of Biafra. And we have proving to the world that we have realized the mistake of our forefather, Chukwuemeka Odimegwu Ojukwu, and all his movements, that the little thing that he's supposed to give to us to make us to have the Christian country that will represent all the Christians in all Africa to have their rights and to be in the position where America is today, where Israel is today. These are the areas that we have forgot, and we did not achieve it by Ojukwu not transition us, or immediately he flew to Ivory Coast. That the thing he could have done is to form Government-in-Exile and start operating from there. And because of he never transitioned into a Government-in-Exile or form a Government-in-Exile after he lost the war, when his second in command handed Nigeria over the war that we are no longer fighting. And deep down in our soul, in our mind, we understand that we want Biafra as a country. That this is the only way we can have our country. That is the only way we can achieve Biafra as a country. But we failed. But the issue is this. We are asking the world, this proverb or this English word, is it true? Show me a man who has never made a mistake. Then I will show you a man who has never risen. Are you telling me all the European Union, all the EU country, organizations and their bodies, all the OAU in Africa, I am asking, have all of you never made a mistake and they realize that this is a mistake, that you need to correct that mistake? Are you telling me that since the day of the OAU, that people has never implemented or put another protocol on the existing law that was governing us before then? If you can every year or every time trying to prove and changes the law, and for us to for the law to be a better place for the mankind, that is why we, the Biafran people, at this stage, we have realized our mistake and we have man up. We will not fall and remain where we fall. We fall and we rise. And finally, we have been falling over all these years. But when Simon Ebanjoko entered the movement precisely from the 2022 to 2023, he proved to us that is our mistake. That is from where we need to correct the mistake. And as we are talking, we have amended our way to suit what makes Belgium become a country after they have lost their country. So on this date called 2024, November 29, we rise from where we fall. We realize our mistake and we issue official declaration or redeclaration of our lost country. The loss of this Christian country is the reason why you are seeing genocide in that contraction, in that business associate of British today, because nobody is a Nigerian. The amalgamation of the 1914 is why the Biafran people are being suffering today. That is why we scatter all over your countries. If we have never lost this Christian country, we can only be a business ally to all of you. We can only be doing things the way it's supposed to be. And that is why we are letting the world to know that we have realized our mistake and we are here, or we have already corrected our mistake by forming Government-in-Exile. The Government-in-Exile, under the name Biafra Republic Government-in-Exile, Brigi, and under this name, we gather in Helsinki, Finland, November 20, 2024, to issue a peaceful redeclaration of our lost country. That is the day we got it right. And from that day to today, we remain on the gotten it right of our country. That is why we, the Biafran people, are calling the world that we have gotten it right. We have also give you a mandate for you to do what? To do what? To recognize United States of Biafra. The solution to the ongoing genocide that is happening in Nigeria, the only solution to end the ongoing genocide that we are passing through, that people have been dying. On 2026, June 27, there was massacre of the Christians with a young boy of 5 years, with a little child of 8 years, not even adults. Without Biafra, without what we are asking you to grant us recognition, the genocide will never stop. And it's not just a genocide, it's Islamization of the Usman Dan Fodio that we have come to end for the Christians to have their life. Based on this, we have been doing everything humanly possible for the world to notice or to come to understand that we, the people of Biafra, as we have met all the criteria, as we have met every criteria for recognition, because we started from getting it right November the 29th, 2024, by issue a peaceful redeclaration. That is the continuity of the lost one into the new. Biafra we redeclared is not a new one. It's that old one that will redeem who we are. And we have taken our position. Based on this, we are asking to the world, if America, if Israel, I want to mention the Christian countries, if Argentina, if Brazil, if Mexico, if Venezuela, and many of them, Canada, all of you should join hands to end this genocide of your fellow Christians. The only way you can help us to do this is by recognizing United States of Biafra as a country. We, the indigenous people, we protect every citizen and give them their rights. But without this country, the genocide will not stop. And genocide is just a message being sent in to us that this is how a country called Turkey today become where people go for pilgrimage under the Islamization. That is how Iran become Islamic country today. That is how Palestine and all of them becomes who they are today. The agenda of Islamization is what must come into all of you, not just ordinary killing of the indigenous people, but it is because of what? They want to end us. Because Nigeria have already registered under the Islamic organization. Tell me, if you are not Islamic, your mind is not to turn into Islamic agenda, why are you a member of Islam? Nigeria is not a secular state. It's only a secular state in the mouth, in the paper that they had from us. Nigeria is an Islamic country. Nigeria is believed in Sharia law. So as I'm talking to you today, over 12 to 14 states in the north has proven that this is what they want. They know what they want. They are acting towards it. So we, the Biafran people, we know what we want. What we want that is we only want Biafra as a country so we can end this ongoing genocide. The mistake of the 1914 is what we are correcting. We start correcting from the November the 29th, 2024. The world must adhere to give us recognition. That is the only way that Biafra will be a country. We want the world to understand you cannot be doing the same thing for over all these years and you expect another different result. So what we want to do is this. We want to do another different thing. The other different thing is our peaceful declaration that we have proven to the world that we are ready to govern ourselves, that we are ready to do what? to help every indigenous person for them to be alive. When we protect our border, nobody will infiltrate our border, nobody will kill us anymore. The kidnapping of a little children from little schools will end. So we are calling on all of you to grant us recognition, to end the massacre, to end the killings. So, my people, the people of citizens of Biafra, we must focus on today's program without wasting time. What we have today is what? It's number 2. How many African countries achieved recognition without the help of lobbyists or congressmen in Washington, D.C.? Elias, Ogenkere, Sani Aprawa, the evil old fool, petty. Come, let me give you countries that got recognition in Africa alone, about 15 to 30 of them, that they never use a white man to achieve the recognition. Petty, Elias, Ogenkere. So now, my question to you is, please tell us the name of the congressman and the name of the lobby that Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu used when he achieved 5 state recognition from 4 countries in Africa and 1 in Europe. That is the simple question I'm asking you. If you cannot show us this, that means you're deceiving the people. But I am here to prove to you, and also I have proved the other days that congressmen has no power to grant recognition. And no country in this world have achieved recognition because of what? Because of congressmen or because of the lobbyists. It never happened anywhere in the world. The only one who has the power to grant recognition is only a president of a country and his own cabinet member of the Minister of Information and Foreign Affairs. These are only those that the government or the president will ride around together, they will talk, and the president will decide under the constitution of that country to grant recognition. That is what they call executive to executive state recognition. There is nothing like, hey, it's not for lobby, you can never achieve recognition. It doesn't happen like that. That is not the protocol. That is not the existing rule. Until we start reasoning beyond what we are thinking, that is the only way we can achieve Biafra as a country. That is why it's very important that we listen to this program today. So as we are moving into the program, we are going to start the program fully by playing the audio. So from the audio, we transition the word. We have gotten it right through our peaceful declaration by the name Dr. Ngozi Orabueze and all his cabinet members. We have a cabinet member. We have a government that are proving to the Biafran people that we are good to go, that we can take care of ourselves, treat ourselves in a nice way. That is where we have found ourselves. And the mistake of the 1967 is what we have corrected through our peaceful redeclaration that happens on November 29, 2024. On that, we go into the program fully this wonderful afternoon. So, my people, we are going to be following the program, and today, let us see how it goes. We want to mention all the names of the countries that achieved recognition from Africa without one single lobbyist. Our own can never be different from how every other countries achieved their own. Nobody should deceive any of us anymore. Without congressmen, Jesus. Wow. Can you hear me direct? Can anyone hear me? Wow. Can you hear me direct? Can anyone Wow. Can you hear me direct? Can anyone My voice is it coming out? My own voice. Wow. 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 More than 15 is no sound. Hey. Jesus Christ of what really happened? Okay. Let's try it from the other side. Where we are doing very something that I want to put Ogen Keres, Sonia Prawa, Elias, and this old fool called Petty, where they belong this evening. So, for these 15 minutes I've been playing this audio, there was no sound except now. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Okay. 1 minute. Let's try this way and see whether we can be able to get the voice, if network permits. If not, we must get the voice to know exactly what happened. This is unbelievable. For 15 minutes that we are cracking down. 1 minute. 1 minute. What I'm doing, I want to present to Elias, a deceiver, Ogenkere, a fool, Sona Akwarawa, the only money machine making, that the only thing he sees is to use Biafra to enrich himself, and the so-called Petty that was UK sees her paper, that the only one who is paying her money is Ogenkere. I want to prove to you all 15 countries out of 30 today in Africa that after they have all, through government in exile, issued declaration that they achieve recognition without one lobby, without one congressman. They bypass congressmen, they bypass lobby and do it to themselves by sending their own diplomatic group or cabinet member into a country to submit document of their declaration of their country. That is what we want to do today. It is very obvious that we handle this program to put rest to all of you who are waiting for USB to start championing congressmen, to start championing this and that. No, we have gone beyond that. Because of what? Our peaceful declaration document is supersede congressmen and the lobby. You see this document in our hand of USB declared is supersede congressmen and lobby. The document is you don't need congressmen to market USB. You don't need congressmen to market USB. We don't need them. We only need to send the document direct to different countries. And as I'm talking to you, I have found out that USB has sent document no less than 125 countries so far as this June is about to end. They have been sending diplomatic documents of USB declared into different countries because recognition is not coming from Washington D.C. Recognition is not coming from congressmen. Recognition is not coming from lobby. It's only coming from a state. You know, under international law, they use their word state. Instead of them to use nation or country, they prefer use state. So it's only states are the one that are granting this recognition, not by any mere mortal, not by any Congress, not by any lobby. And I put this headline here because I want the congressmen in America to see it and come and debunk this. I'm lying. That is why I want to prove the evidence. From African country alone today, we are going to go into 15 countries in Africa that is the form government in exile. They start from organization. They now transition into government in exile. They issue declaration. They succeeded by getting recognition without one single congressman or one single lobby to champion or talk about them. These are things that has happened. These are the things that I want us to reason today as pure evidence to debunk the lies of the so-called criminal Elias and the criminal Ogenkere, criminal Sonny Akwarawa, and the old fool called Petty that could not look at history and check what we are doing. But this stage, that's why I said that the Biafra we are looking for is beyond our local reasoning. The only thing that will bring Biafra as a country, when we stand on the template and the level of the international global community, their guidelines, their protocol, and all they have kept for us to follow. Obato OBS said, road to achieve Biafra is in the open. That is what the government USB is doing. So let's go this way. See if the voice can play from here. Please bear with me. And I play. My network no interrupt what we are doing today from the other side, because I don't know why we're not having any sound.
The process of African decolonization relied entirely on regional unity, international law, and the voting machinery of the United Nations and the Organization of African Unity, OAU. African leaders bypassed Western legislators and Washington D.C.
firms entirely, using executive to executive statecraft to force recognition. That utilized a provisional government, GIE, or a unilateral/peaceful declaration to secure international recognition, shows how the core governments in exile and provisional explicitly or in liberated zones, using direct diplomatic networks to secure sovereign recognition. 1. Algeria, 1958 to 1962. The strategy formed the Provisional Government of the Algeria in exile.
Please, 1 minute. The network is somehow, but let's connect it, please. 1 minute. 1 minute.
establish institutional legitimacy. Across the continent, movements have successfully formed governments in exile, issued sovereign declarations, and secured official international recognition. Crucially, these administrations achieved their legal standing not by hiring expensive public relations firms or lobbying politicians in Washington, D.C., but by relying strictly on effective administrative control, regional diplomacy, and established international legal frameworks, such as the right to self-determination and the Montevideo criteria. Here are 15 of the most significant examples across Africa that demonstrate this specific path to legal sovereignty and administrative statehood. 1. Algeria, GPRA, the administration. The Government Provisoire de la République Algérienne, GPRA, was formed in 1958 as the Provisional Government in Exile of Algeria during its liberation struggle against France. The strategy: operating out of Cairo, Egypt, and Tunisia, the GPRA built an entire parallel diplomatic corps. Instead of looking to Western capitals, they secured immediate, formal recognition from across Africa, Asia, and the Arab world. Their unyielding administrative structure eventually forced France to sign the Evian Accords, legalizing Algeria's full sovereignty. 2. Western Sahara, Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, the administration, the Polisario Front. The strategy: following the abrupt departure of Spain in 1976, the Polisario Front issued a formal, unilateral declaration of sovereignty, establishing the SADR. Operating its administrative headquarters in Government-in-Exile from the Tindouf region, the SADR achieved massive structural recognition strictly through international law. They bypassed Washington politics entirely, successfully securing official recognition from over 80 sovereign states and obtaining full, founding member status in the African Union. 3. Namibia, SWAPO, the administration, Southwest Africa People's Organization, SWAPO. The strategy: during South Africa's illegal administrative occupation of their territory, SWAPO established its administrative headquarters in exile in Lusaka, Zambia, and Luanda, Angola. They focused entirely on international legal mechanisms. By working through regional African alliances and the United Nations, they secured a landmark declaration from the UN General Assembly recognizing SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people, leading directly to full independence via UN Resolution 435. 4. Guinea-Bissau, PAIGC, the administration, African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC. The strategy: led by the theorist Amilcar Cabral, the movement operated its primary administrative and political infrastructure from neighboring Guinea-Conakry. In September 1973, before the physical conflict with Portugal had even concluded, the PAIGC gathered its National Assembly in the liberated forests of Boe and issued a peaceful, unilateral declaration of statehood. Over 80 nations recognized the new state within weeks based on the PAIGC's effective administrative control on the ground, completely bypassing Western legislative channels. 5. Angola, GREY, the administration, the Government-in-Exile de la République Angolaise, GREY. The strategy: formed in 1962 by the FNLA and led by Holden Roberto, this formal government in exile established its administrative capital in Leopoldville, now Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of the Congo. The GREY sought to present a fully realized, operational alternative to the colonial regime. It secured official recognition from the Organization of African Unity, OAU, and multiple North African states strictly through regional geopolitical alignment, completely independent of American political influence. 6. Somaliland, the administration, the Somali National Movement, SNM, and the Council of Elders, GERTI. The strategy: following the collapse of the central government in Mogadishu, the leaders and traditional elders of the northern region convened the Grand Conference of Barrow in May 1991. They issued a peaceful redeclaration of independence, dissolving the voluntary 1960 constitutional union. Somaliland has built a fully functioning state with its own constitution, currency, military, and biometric voting system. It maintains de facto international relations completely independent of Western lobbying, relying instead on local institutional stability and indigenous conflict resolution, ZIR. 7. Eritrea, EPLF, the administration, Eritrean People's Liberation Front, EPLF. The strategy: Fighting a multi-decade battle for self-determination, the EPLF rejected any reliance on foreign superpowers or professional lobbyists. Instead, they built highly sophisticated, parallel administrative, educational, and medical networks within their liberated zones and diaspora offices. Their path to universal international recognition was cemented in 1993 through a flawless, UN-monitored referendum, turning a structural reality on the ground into de jure statehood. 8. South Africa, ANC in exile, the administration, African National Congress, ANC. The strategy, banned by the apartheid regime in 1960, the ANC transitioned into a highly organized government in exile, establishing its international administrative headquarters in Lusaka, Zambia. The ANC achieved global legitimacy and isolated the apartheid state not via backroom political favors in Washington, but through the moral clarity of the Freedom Charter, regional frontline alliances, and a massive, global grassroots anti-apartheid movement. 9. Zimbabwe, ZANU and ZAPU, the administration, Zimbabwe African National Union and Zimbabwe African People's Union. The strategy, operating external administrative and military commands from Zambia and Mozambique during the unrecognized minority rule of Ian Smith's Rhodesia, these movements established a parallel governance structure. They achieved international recognition as the legitimate voices of the Zimbabwean people through the 1979 Lancaster House Agreement, relying on regional pressure from the frontline states rather than American political capital. 10. Mozambique, Frelimo, the administration, Liberation Front of Mozambique, Frelimo. The strategy, operating its political and administrative headquarters in exile from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, under the protection of Julius Nyerere, Frelimo created fully functional governance systems, schools, health centers, and trade networks inside its liberated zones. Their international legitimacy was recognized by the OAU and Nordic countries based on this concrete administrative competence, forcing Portugal to transfer power directly to Frelimo during the Lusaka Accords of 1974. 11. São Tomé and Príncipe, MLSTP, the administration, Movement for the Liberation of São Tomé and Príncipe, MLSTP. The strategy, established in 1972, the MLSTP set up its government in exile and administrative heart in Libreville, Gabon. By gaining formal recognition from the OAU as the sole legitimate representative of the island's people, they bypasses traditional Western diplomatic routes entirely. Following political shifts in Europe, this recognized administrative status allowed them to seamlessly take over governance and declare full independence in 1975. 12. Equatorial Guinea, Burge, Opposition in Exile, the administration, various historical provisional councils in exile. The strategy, during the severe dictatorial repressions of the late 20th century, various broad coalitions established administrative factions and provisional governments in exile in neighboring Gabon and Spain. Rather than engaging in Western legislative lobbying, these groups focused heavily on documenting human rights records and working through regional Central African blocs to maintain a continuous, legally recognized alternative to the regime. 13. Comoros, the Anjouan and Moheli administrative precedents, the administration, local island organs. The strategy, in 1997, the islands of Anjouan and Moheli individually issued unilateral declarations of independence from the Central Comorian state due to severe economic neglect. While seeking a redeclaration of their administrative terms, they operated completely separate, localized governing administrations for years. They sustained their structures through local consensus and direct, regional mediation with the African Union, independent of any external Western intervention. 14. Tunisia, Neo Destor, National Movement, the administration, the national movement leadership in exile. The strategy, during the height of French colonial crackdowns in the early 1950s, the core political leadership of Tunisia established external operations across the Arab world and Switzerland. They issued systematic declarations regarding the restoration of Tunisian autonomy and sovereignty. Their administrative legitimacy was sustained by powerful domestic labor unions, the UGTT, and regional solidarity, forcing France to recognize Tunisian autonomy in 1954 and full independence in 1956. 15. Madagascar, MDRM, Pro-Independence Council, the administration, Democratic Movement for Malagasy Restoration, MDRM. The strategy, following the massive nationalist uprisings of 1947, the foundational leadership of the MDRM and associated nationalist councils established deep external networks to challenge French colonial rule. They rejected Western metropolitan lobbying, instead anchoring their claims in the legal promises of the Atlantic Charter and the UN framework regarding the rights of colonial peoples, preserving the continuous administrative identity of the Malagasy nation until full sovereignty was restored in 1960. The administrative takeaway: across all 15 historical and contemporary examples, the overriding legal truth remains constant. Sovereign legitimacy is built from the inside out. True, lasting international recognition is achieved when an administration proves it possesses a defined population, a clear territory, and the distinct institutional capacity to govern, fulfilling the classical international law standards of statehood independently of external political favors.
Yes, I hope you can hear my voice clearly. What I give here is history of 15 countries so far that no lobby. They never use, they bypass lobby. They bypass congressmen. You see the criminal Elias, the criminal Ogenkere, the criminal Sonny Akwarawa, and this Petty. I want to prove to all of you that this deceive that you are giving to your gullibles is not working. And your followers always come and write, hey, where is Ngozi Arabeze? What is the USB lobby? Where is your congressman? USB have congressmen within themselves. Only Uche pass congressmen. Only Uche pass lobby. Because this we are called lobby does not have 2 heads and 4 eyes, 4 ears and 4 mouths. And the government structure and the cabinet member have only 1 mouth and only 1 ear and only 1 eyes and only 1 head. What you are doing here is like when the IPOB bring a man from America, Bruce Fenn, to start championing to the extent of telling them that everyone should support IPOB organization. That is what Elias is doing. You see that work that Bruce Fenn trying to do with IPOB when Obatobie, Simon Ekpa is here with us. And what happened? They bring Bruce Fenn to use him to draw attention. A white man is supporting you. Let us go. You see this idea of a white man supporting that idea that are killing all of you. That's okay. Encourage you to do so. When we're going to Bachanisi, ona nezuzu, nesia, ne meyeri. I want every one of us to understand this today. That it is 100% right, possible to achieve recognition without talking to a lobby, without any congressman. When you need lobby to represent you in the congressman is when we have never really redeclared Biafra as a country, when we remain under the organization started by Simon Ekpa, Biafra Republic Government in Exile. That is the only time we need this lobby. And after we have achieved our full recognition, our full declaration, or our full redeclaration, we don't need them much. Because for us to be a member of the UN, lobby and congressmen cannot speak for you. For any country to recognize you, Elias cannot speak, and no congressman will pass any country to grant us recognition. If you ask this question on the Google, very easy to find out. When you go to Google and ask, how many countries have achieved recognition because of help of congressmen, or how many countries have succeeded achieving recognition after their declaration because of congressmen. What you will hear, you will find out 0, 0, 0 like 0. So how can we be that stupidity to be using our money to dash a fool, a small boy of 25 years that is controlling all this gullible? A small boy of 20-something years, not even up to 30, up to 40 years, that are controlling petty because of what? The business they have put themselves into. How to make the Biafran people. That is why it is very imperative that you understand that what we are doing today, or what we are passing today, that people has passed through this in the past. People has passed through this in the past. If 15 countries in Africa, or more than that, can bypass congressmen, bypass lobby, talk to countries and the president direct, or talk to the information minister and all of them direct, and they can be able to achieve recognition. Is it in our own case? The matter of congressmen and lobby dies in Washington D.C. They are not going to bring any country to recognize you as a country. The criteria for recognition, congressmen has no power towards it. They has no value on that. What has value is a state-to-state, head-to-head conversation with the cabinet members of the USB or of our DPM direct. Is the only way that we can achieve Biafra as a country recognition. Not by any congressman, not by any lobby. No lobby has bring recognition to any country in the world. And no country in this world have achieved recognition because of congressmen. Now, I am going to play for the second time. Look at that is what we are seeing on the screen. 15 countries in Africa with the name of the organization, the IPOB. From the name of the organization, they transition into a government in exile. They all issue declaration. After this, I am going to give you another 15 or numbers of those that issue a redeclare of their lost country, like the case of the Biafran people. That's how, after they redeclare, they did not use any lobby to achieve their country. That one is on a different plate, on a different page of the program, on a different day, that they achieve recognition after they issue redeclaration. Like, in fact, no, I don't need to go there. Let us focus on this 15. This is a 15 country in Africa. Look at my headline. Number 2 hash. How many countries, how many African countries achieved recognition without the help of lobbyists or congressmen? Is what I ask. And I find out that over 20-30 more of that in Africa alone achieved recognition without one help of congressmen, without paying a dime to congressmen. The Somaliland, or sorry, the Somalia, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu asked us to repeat their history via government in exile, did not even use one lobby or one congressman for them to achieve recognition. So, as I am going to play for second time, and this second time, we'll be playing and we'll be explaining it through the program so we all can also contribute to the comment section. Please, I will only urge you to like and share the program if you are joining us, please. That is the only thing that I want you to do for me. Like and share the program. We want to prove to Elias that he's a criminal. Already, we all have already known that Ogenkri is a criminal. Mark Arnold said that Sonny Akra is a fraud and a liar. The same thing with someone who is following and the petty who are championing their stupidity in social media today. So on that reason, let us listen again. Please, if you are playing the audio, if you are hearing it, please comment that you are hearing it, please, so I can know if there is any attack. I can be able to correct it very fast. Please. So now, listen to 15 countries in Africa that have name of organization. From the organization to transition government in exile, to issue declaration, to achieve recognition by bypassing congressmen and lobby, they never use it at all. Ogenkere dictated a way that he can use to make his gullible and deceive all of them by Nigerian government sponsoring Ogenkere. And he's here, you are following him. Let's continue. Listen. Please tell me if you're hearing the audio. Please.
The history of African state restoration,
are you hearing it?
Decolonization, and self-determination
I want to pause to confirm
blueprint for how
the voice. Is it coming out, please, before I start it fully? Can you hear the audio voice of this document that we are reading here? Okay, Ogonia, thank you. Now we go fully into the 15 countries. Remember, 15 in Africa.
Establish institutional legitimacy. Across the continent, movements have successfully formed governments in exile, issued sovereign declarations, redeclarations, and secured official international recognition. Crucially, these administrations achieved their legal standing not by hiring expensive public relations.
I hope you are listening. The history of African countries through the restoration or decolonization and the self-determination prove that these very blueprints that they have establishing their legitimacy across the continent. Movements have successfully formed government in exile, issued sovereign declaration or redeclaration. Are you hearing it? A movement from organization name that transition into a government in exile. As they transition government in exile, they did what? They issued sovereign declaration and the sovereign redeclaration of their lost country. And what happened? They officially succeed by achieving official international recognition of their country. Afterwards, transition to government in exile, leave a name of organization, and they start acting as a government in exile. And they now issue declaration. They issue redeclaration, like what the government of USB did on November the 29th, 2024. This is what these countries have done in the past. And today, I will find out if all these countries, you know them. If you know any country, type, I know this country. They have achieved recognition with what? By passing anything or even spending a higher money to rent, to hire a lobby or to use congressmen. They bypass it. You hear their name because of what? They have a document of redeclaration or a document of the declaration of their lost country or declaring the new one. Based on that document, the document is bigger. The document bypass congressmen. The document bypass lobbyists. So let's continue.
Relations firms or lobbying politicians in Washington, D.C., but by relying strictly on effective administrative control, regional diplomacy, and established international legal frameworks, such as the right to self-determination and the Montevideo criteria.
Now, you had it here fully from this beginning, and you can see my question. I asked, I want up to 15 countries in Africa, those that from government in exile and issue peaceful redeclaration or declaration and achieved international recognition without one lobby or one congressman. Now, listen. Crucially, these administrations achieved this legal standing not by the expensive public relation firm or lobby political in Washington, D.C. They did not go to Washington, D.C., champion themselves, start snapping picture. They never did that. What happened? But by relying strictly on effective administrative control. That is what US represent. That is why we need to bypass lobby, bypass congressmen, because of we have the authentic and the original document of our country. Now, recognition and diplomacy and establishing international legal framework such as the right to self-determination and the Montevideo criteria. When you have 14, one is from, is a 17 I will count for you what USB have, why we don't need anything like the Congress, or why we needed them at a time the government finds that we need to hire any congressman, we hire them. Anytime we need to hire lobby, we hire. Not to sign them under contract and be using money that we use to build our country to be given to this small boy called Elias, a criminal that will go to prison when Biafra recognition. And that is why Elias and Ogenkre is fighting for Biafra to not become a country so they can be able to not to be in prison. Now, let's proceed.
Here are 15 of the most significant examples across Africa that demonstrate this specific path to legal sovereignty and administrative statehood.
Are you hearing it? Here are the 15 of the most significant examples across Africa that demonstrated a specific path to legal sovereignty and administrative statehood without one single congressman, without one single lobby. Now, you will start hearing the name from when they mention Algeria, one as a country. They will mention the name of the organization they use before the transition government in exile and issue declaration of their country. Listen to this as we proceed.
Administrative statehood. 1. Algeria, GPRA, the administration, the Government Provisoire de la République Algérienne, GPRA, was formed in 1958 as the Provisional Government in Exile of Algeria during its liberation struggle against France.
Are you hearing it? The first word starts with organization. Because of the level and the weight of France, that if they remain in their territory, that France will wipe them away and arrest all their leaders, even though France, let us succeeded, arresting all their first leaders, put them in prison. Now on this, the name of the organization is what? GPRA is the name of the organization that the government in exile of Algeria started with, and they end up on the declaration of their country. So let us proceed and we can understand. And this is that we give you when these people reside with the government in exile. And after they have issued their declaration, they made it openly that GPRA was formed in 1958 as the Provisional Government in Exile of Algeria during its liberation struggle against France. The South organization, the government in exile. What happened? Let us continue.
The strategy, operating out of Cairo, Egypt, and Tunisia,
They operate from where? From Cairo, Egypt, Tunisia. The GPRA is the organization they start. The government in exile now move away from their territory of Algeria. They now transition to Egypt and Tunisia. Those that have already secured their own, they went in there for them to be able to achieve their own country. And they remain in exile until they finally succeed. And they came back, take over their territory. The strategy being used that they transition into war, government in exile, and look at it here, operate out of Cairo, Egypt, and Tunisia, and Tunde, Tunisia. Everywhere they are, even in the streets, they know where they are. This is how they started. But remember that this Algeria refused to use upon fighting against France. They refused to use lobby. They refused to use congressmen. Because what we are doing today is to present to you 15 countries in Africa after they have issued declaration, they refuse to work with congressmen because of they refuse to work with congressmen. Does it stop them from achieving recognition? The answer is hell no. Without congressmen, they achieved their award recognition. Without congressmen, they all achieved their award, their recognition. How do they do it? Well, as we continue, we will hear that.
GPRA built an entire parallel diplomatic corps. Instead of looking to Western capitals, they secured immediate, formal recognition from across Africa.
Listen, instead of looking for Western capital to come and help them to secure lobby, they succeeded immediately, formally recognition from across Africa. Because of what? After the declaration of Algeria in 1960, what happened? They issued declaration. They send their declaration document to the different countries in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, and the Arab world. Because of they send it and send their own people to go and talk to these countries, their cabinet members, their structures of government. Through that means, they issue declaration, they send their people with a document. From there, they achieve recognition. And they said, what happened? A formal recognition from across Africa. Is it from Washington D.C? Is it from congressmen? The criminal Elias, a little boy that never made money before, that only way he can make money with Ogen Kre Abateke. How much he charged from there, he will go Ogen Kre and so now provide the percentage, and these fools will become. Some fools call themselves Biafra, we following them. Some fools that call themselves Biafran will be following them and speaking Kalewai from their mouth and the yamming nonsense from their mouth, refusing that before that people has passed this road that we are passing through today. So as we continue, now what happened? They yelled administrative structure eventually forced France to sign the Avial Accord, legalizing Algeria as a full sovereignty. Because of what? That Algeria issued what? Declaration. They bypass congressmen. They will send their documents country to country with their own Minister of Information, Foreign Affairs. That is their work. That is why you have them. An example of it is that when they do Adi Burkina Faso, you see the USB diplomatic movement in Adi Burkina Faso sending the document of Israel declared to a president of a country of Burkina Faso. You know him, Ibrahim Traoré. You saw USB diplomatic movement in that particular Adi Burkina Faso that happened last year, December. This is how all these 15 countries in Africa achieved recognition without giving congressmen 1 naira, without having any lobby. Lobby is very good when you run an organization first. They can be able to speak to you because you don't have the document. You don't have the legal right to go and sit and talk about a country when you have never issued official declaration, where nobody signed that what we want is United States of Biafra as a country. We proceed. Listen, number 2.
Asia and the Arab world. Their unyielding administrative structure eventually forced France to sign the Evian Accords, legalizing Algeria's full sovereignty. 2. Western Sahara, Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, Sadr, the administration, the Polisario Front.
The name of the organization was SADR. Now, the full strategy, following the blueprints adopted departure of Spain in 1967, they do what? Front issued official declaration of a sovereignty. It's only in Biafra movement that one would declare it's not sovereignty. But every other countries in Africa, inside these 15, in their own way and in their time, they are the one only issue sovereignty. Hey, you claim you declare Biafra as a country. Hey, you cannot be a sovereignty without taking care of your land. Why those I'm mentioning here? All of them are in exile. I asked those, these 15, they all went into exile. They all went into what? Into exile before they can be able to form government in exile and transition to declaration of their different countries. Western Sahara, as we need today, they form organization. SADR is the name. What happened? Let's continue.
The strategy. Following the abrupt departure of Spain in 1976, the Polisario Front issued a formal, unilateral declaration of sovereignty, establishing the SADR. Operating its administrative headquarters and government in exile from the Tindouf region,
the
SADR achieved
a government operating in exile
through international law. They bypassed Washington politics entirely,
Are you hearing it?
successfully securing official recognition from over 80 sovereign states and obtaining full founding member status in the African Union.
Are you hearing it? This SADR, Western Sahara, Sahrawi, did what? They said what? They bypassed Washington D.C. politics. This is a politics what they are doing in Washington D.C. They bypassed Washington D.C. political entirely. This policies that will happen in Washington D.C., this country, Western Sahara in Africa, bypass it. Successfully securing official recognition from over 80 sovereign states and obtain fully recognition as a sovereign nation. They bypass congressmen. They bypass anything has to do with Washington D.C. Again, Spetty. Hey, we are Washington D.C. We are doing only shaking hand. And today, Ogenkere has become a fine man that is using 2 iPhones because of the money has started coming. If called, it's time to make money with Ogenkere. As Ogenkere is getting from Nigeria, as Nigeria pumping Ogenkere to pump Elias, they are pumping Sonakra with the so-called petty, the evil woman, old fool that is brought in shame to the unborn generation of his own family members. And those, they will suffer because of the sin of this particular woman that's committing today. Now, this country, they said what? Remember from here, the SADR achieved massive structural recognition solely through international law. They bypassed Washington D.C. politics. They bypassed Washington D.C. politics. As they bypass, does it stop them to achieve recognition? The answer is no. They said here, successfully securing official recognition from over 80 sovereign states because of the issue declaration of a sovereignty in exile in Tundi region. They issue declaration. IPOB, when are you going to issue declaration? It has done and dusted. There's nothing you can, because the world already know that United States of Biafra has been redeclared on November the 29th, 2024. The world understand that this has happened and there is no way. And also, this particular country, as they secure the recognition, what happened? They become a status in African Union. They start from country to country tour. They start visiting countries, giving them the document, and through that means they bypass Washington D.C. and their politics. Because Washington D.C. and the higher money you bring, the higher money talk about you. And they know that they never, Washington D.C., the congressmen, the lobby has no right to force any country or to force any president of this world or any country in the world to recognize anybody. They do not have the right. I hope it's clear to you. Now we are moving on number 3. Remember, 15 of them
3. Namibia, SWAPO.
Are you
Administration.
Everybody with
Southwest
them of their
Africa People's
structure.
Organization,
SWAPO.
SWAPO. The strategy. During South Africa's illegal administrative occupation of their territory, SWAPO.
South Africa was the one who occupied the territory of Namibia. Like Nigeria today, occupying our own territory today. And what the SWAPO did, what the Namibia did for them to achieve their country, they issued declaration in exile. Let's continue.
Their territory. SWAPO established its administrative headquarters in exile in Lusaka, Zambia, and Luanda, Angola.
Are you hearing
They
it?
focused entirely on international legal mechanisms. By working through regional African alliances and the United Nations, they secured a landmark declaration from the UN General Assembly recognizing SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people, leading directly to full independence via UN Resolution 435. 4. Guinea-Bissau.
Are you hearing the story of these are countries without one congressman? Now somebody will say, oh, UN General Assembly recognized SWAPO. Yes, because of what? SWAPO Namibia has a law. In their time, two of their people, one woman and one man, was the one sweeping the office of they get a job in the office of UN General Assembly. They are the one maintaining they are the one cleaning it up. As they are doing that, they are also letting them to know. So that is why they say that Namibia is a child of UN because of their people. They bypass congressmen. Remember, they start with organization. Southwest African People's Organization. The same way Batobie registered Biafra Republic Government-in-Exile, BRIGI. The same way Mazin and the can registered IPOB organization. The Batobie, who registered us into this, said, know that this is organization name. And that is why then he introduced charter for us. Because of his very quickly on his actions, he never introduced us by law, because by law is a common. Charter supersede by law. The same way constitution supersede charter. And charter was meant for organization. That time we are in BRIGI, we are in Government-in Republic and Exile, we are into organization. Registered by Simon Ebanjoko via the criminal Ogenkere as the agent. And today, he has turned to become the owner of the house. He has turned to become the owner of the BRIGI. And you are following him. And you are calling him of Simon Eba. You are not ashamed of yourself. And this petty cannot move an inch because the petty committed a crime in United Kingdom. His document was seized by the government of the United Kingdom. So he cannot work. The only work he do is to serve Ogenkere at his old age because he wants money. So let's continue. The strategy. During South Africa illegal administrative occupation of the territory of their territory, SWAPO established its administrative headquarters in exile, Lusaka, Zambia, and Luanda, Angola. They focus entirely on international legal mechanism by working through regional Africa allies. They did what? They start from Africa. Because of what? The first recognition of SWAPO or Namibia was from the African country. They established that. Now, what do they establish? Listen for what triggers the recognition. Listen. By working through a regional African allies and the United Nations, they secure a landmark after their peaceful declaration from the UN General Assembly, recognized SWAPO as the authentic representative of the Namibian people, leading direct to the full independence via UN Resolution 435. They bypassed lobby. They did by themselves. Because of the issue declaration and the present declaration document through via their sisters and their brother, who was the house cleaner in the United Nations General Assembly office, through that, what happened? They all get recognition. And the African country organized them without one single lobby, without one single congressman. Go and tag Ogenkere and the layers to come. They didn't tell us what they are doing. And how many countries has proven that they want to organize Biafra as a country. Why are you a fool at 40? a fool at 20, you become a fool at 40. From 40, you go to 60 to 80, and the grave is not waiting for you. But before you go to grave, the law of Biafra, the constitution of Biafra, we must be implemented on all of you who are today fighting against US being declared. Let's go to number 4.
4. Guinea-Bissau. PAIGC.
Guinea.
The administration.
They all bypass congressmen and lobby.
Guinea and Cape Verde. PAIGC.
The Cape Verde and the Guinea-Bissau marched together after they spread peacefully by themselves.
Operated its primary administrative and political infrastructure from neighboring Guinea-Conakry. In September 1973, before the physical conflict with Portugal had even concluded, the PAIGC gathered its National Assembly in the liberated forests of Boe and issued a peaceful, unilateral declaration of statehood. Over 80 nations recognized the new state within weeks based on the PAIGC's effective administrative control on the ground, completely bypassing Western legislative channels. 5.
Do you hear the last word? That they bypassed legislative channel. They completely bypassed Western. They bypassed Washington D.C. They bypassed anything congressmen. They bypassed anything lobby. I am talking about Guinea-Bissau and the Cape Verde, where Sonny Akwarawa is today. They all issued their declaration in 1973. They lost their fiscal control under the conflict with Portugal. They lost their. After that, the name of organization was the name of the organization is this PAIGC. They transition into exile and issue a peaceful. They issue the declaration. Look at it. They issue a peaceful, utterance declaration of a stakeholder sovereignty. Is what they issued the declaration in 1973. After that, over 80 nations organized a new state within a week based on the effective administrative control on the ground, completely bypassing the Washington legislative channel. They passed Washington D.C. They never enter. They never use them. Today, do you know about Guinea-Bissau? Do you know about Cape Verde? They are a country today, but they bypassed what? They bypassed congressmen. They bypassed lobby for them to achieve their own country. Now, let's go to number 5. Angola. The name of the organization is GRAE, is the name of the organization. Number 5.
5. Angola.
Angola.
The administration. The Government-in-Exile de la République Angolaise, GRAE.
The government were in exile. The government, or the name of the structure they use, organization, they transition into exile and they form a capacity of a government. Established what? The strategy formed in 1962 by the FNLA and led by the Robert. This formal government in exile established administrative capital in another man's country. Demonstrate the Republic of Congo. They transition into a Congo. That is where have the government in exile. The GRAE sought to present a full realizing operation attractive to the colonial regime. It secured official recognition from the Organizations of Africa, OAU, and the multiple Northern Africa states, African nation, African country, through recognition, geopolitical alignment, completely independency of American political influence. They did what? They bypassed American political influence by Congress and the lobby. Today, I am asking you, Angola, are they not a full country today without using lobby? In 1962, they never used lobby. They never used congressmen. Elias, go to hell. You are a criminal. Look at this small boy. Let's continue. Number 6.
1962 by the FNLA and led by Holden Roberto. This formal government in exile established its administrative capital in Leopoldville, now Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Greys sought to present a fully realized, operational alternative to the colonial regime. It secured official recognition from the Organization of African Unity, OAU, and multiple North African states strictly through regional geopolitical alignment, completely independent of American political influence. 6. Somaliland. The administration, the Somali National
I hope you heard about Angola. How Angola started from organization, the transition. Everybody started from a name of organization first. Those who know that what we want is a country. Once they transition into exile, they issue declaration or redeclaration of their lost country. They bypass the congressmen, they bypass Washington D.C, they bypass lobby, they bypass congressmen. They do it to themselves. I have proved to you over 3 months ago that USB, after having this declaration document, we don't need to rent or hire lobby, sign a contract with a lobby or congressman. No, because the government must prove a capacity or a structure of a government by what we are doing, by using our own people to defend our own cause, our own mandate, to present the USB declared document into the hands of different countries in the world, and they prove how capacity and how effective we are to work as a country. That is why we need to do it by ourselves. Nobody will do it for us. Nobody. We are the one to do it by ourselves. We are the one to do it by ourselves. Nobody will do it for us. Nobody. Now we're going to number 6. The same OAU organizes them. That is why I'm telling you, in a due time, the world must recognize USB, whether like it or not, very quickly, fast approaching. Without a declaration, you are not going to exile at all. Without a peaceful redeclaration, you are not a government in exile. Please, I hope you can see here the audio as we are moving to number 6, Somaliland. Somaliland, that got recognition from America. Let's see if they use congressmen. There is one vagabond who come here and says that Somaliland, use congressmen or lobby. Come, let me prove it to you that they never use any of them. They never use congressmen. They never use any lobby. Number 6, we go.
Movement, SNM, and the Council of Elders, GERTI.
The Somalia use name of organization. Their name is what? SNM is the name of the organization they used before their transition. Listen here. Listen.
The strategy. Following the collapse of the central government in Mogadishu, the leaders and traditional elders of the northern region convened the Grand Conference of Barrow in May 1991. They issued a peaceful redeclaration of independence, dissolving the...
They issue what? They issue a peaceful redeclaration of independence of sovereignty. They issued what? A peaceful redeclaration of the independency of their sovereignty. That's what they issued. They lost it. They come back, redeclare it. Somaliland issued declaration 2 times, and they pick up the one that they have issued a redeclaration in 1960 via peaceful way. What happened? Listen.
Voluntary 1960 Constitutional Union. Somaliland has built a fully functioning state with its own constitution, currency, military, and biometric voting system. It maintains de facto international relations completely independent of Western lobbying, relying instead on local institutional stability and indigenous conflict resolution, ZIR.
Relying where? On the African continent recognition. Somaliland has never used lobby. They said 0 lobby. 0 lobby. 0 congressmen. They achieved it because they knew that they have to achieve it. Ogenkere Eleya Sonia Akwarawa Petty. I am asking you, Where are you getting the nonsense you are doing? The only thing that is in your mind is how you criminalize the Biafran's money.
Zero. 7. Eritrea, EPLF, the administration.
This zero simply means what? That they have never used lobby. They have never used congressmen. Dissolving the voluntary 1960 Constitution Union, Somaliland has fully functioning states with its own constitution, currency, military, and the bilateral voting system. It maintained de facto international recognition completely independent of Western lobby. They did what? They did not. They distanced themselves from the lobby, from the Western lobby. They distanced themselves, rather relying instead on the local institutions, stability, and indigenous conflict resolution. You see, they bypassed white man. They never used them. And they believe in Africa, in what black man can do for them. These are how people that have normal brain is doing. That is why USB is on the right track, as you can see. Please, can someone hear the audio? I want to confirm if someone is hearing the audio so I can continue the program. Please, can someone hear the audio? I want to confirm because of my network and what is happening. I'm asking you, can someone hear me, please? I want to do comment section. Anybody in this building? Anybody this particular program today? Is there anybody here? Please, if you are here, I want to confirm if you are hearing the audio. Wow, I think nobody's here. Maybe they're not here, there's the left. Please, can someone confirm if you are hearing me? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Loud and clear, thank you. What were we doing? The headline, the part 2. That is why I put 2 hash. How many countries achieved recognition with the help of the congressmen? 0. 0. Like 0. Now we're going to number 7 country. But remember that all of them issued what? A peaceful declaration. Somaliland issued a peaceful redeclaration via their government. They never used lobby. They bypassed lobby. They bypassed congressmen. In our champion, congressmen and lobby layers a criminal. Ogenkre, criminal. Sonia Prawa, armed robber.
Eritrean People's Liberation Front.
Are you hearing it?
EPLF. The strategy, fighting a multi-decade battle for self-determination, the EPLF rejected any reliance on foreign superpowers or professional lobbyists. Instead,
Eritrea, they rejected any foreign power, any professional lobby, or any professional congressman. You had it here. Do you hear it? That they rejected this. They don't have money to give to them. Somaliland or Eritrea never use lobby. They never use lobby. Do you see that USB redeclared is getting it right in what we are doing? If over 30 countries or 15 countries in Africa can do it, can't we do it? Are we not smarter, educated more than this country we're mentioning about the citizens? Are we not? Can we not present our matter very well more than them? Why people are so gullible? Because of they want money. They want money. Ogen Keresana has seen a way to reach himself and become a popular human being. That is what he's doing today. Enjoying the blood money. You will pay dearly for it in due time. He who laughed last, laughed the best. A destiny can only be delayed, but it can never be denied. Eritrea, they use the organization, the name is EPLF. They transition government-in-exile. Their strategy fighting multiple decade battle of self-determination. The EPL rejects any alliance on a foreign superpower or professional lobbies. They said no. Today, Eritrea is a country. Let's continue.
they built highly sophisticated, parallel administrative, educational, and medical networks within their liberated zones and diaspora offices.
Are you hearing it? They built what? They built a higher sophisticated parliament, administrative, education, and the medical network within their liberation zone and diaspora offices. That is why Eritrea, Somaliland, many of them, they paid their citizens money. They did what? They paid their citizens money. They bring them in, tell them, you must educate ourselves. On now we are in exile. We must educate ourselves how the government in exile work, how we can achieve our recognition without using any congressmen, without using any lobby, without forming any alliance after they have fight for self-determination over many multiple decades. They said hell no to lobby. They said hell no to congressmen. They say hell no to the powers being. And today, they are a free country of their own. They achieve recognition, even from the UN, without having one lobby and one congressman. What Ogenkere was doing is like, IPOB have their way of collecting money from those who are the gullible by tell them, contribute your monthly dues. We are going to rent hall. We are going to go out for protest. We are paying police. We are doing this. So Ogenkere could not see a way to put that structure. So what Ogenkere did is to use a white man, Elias, to do it. Remember when Abato Obie was here, that IPOB brought Bruce Fem. Even Bruce Fem come to fundraising and calling Biafrans to come and support IPOB. And all these things has happened. Your mindset could no reason that the same method is what Ogenkere, Sonny Akrawa, and the party is doing today. All of them we pay dearly in due time. I use that word. He who laughed last, laughed the best. They did what? And they built a medical network within the liberation zone and the diaspora offices. The part to unveil, the part to on several international recognition was in 1999 through fearless UN monitored referendum, turning a structured reality on the ground into due statehood of recognition of Eritrea. See how those who want a nation act, they all walked away. Do you think they do not have betrayers? I have played it. Eritrea have saboteurs. The Eritrea in Africa is different from the Eritrea where Elias destroyed their declaration, wanted to destroy the government of Eritrea. That the president come to our first appearance in Finland, and also the second one. I think he came around. Elias was the one who destroyed that man, the government. They divide them into two. Working with the oppressor and the saboteurs in that Eritrea, in Europe or in Asia or in the Middle East, anywhere they are. So when you look at what we are passing through today, and if you are listening to all this history, do you think, tell me your mind, that USB is on a right track? Do you believe that with 100% mind? Without all this gossip that is going on social media? Do you see how other people achieve their country? Do you see how other peoples move on for them to become a country? Is it, when I ask you today, if you look at USB, tell me your mind. Do you believe that USB is on the right track? Do you believe that we are doing what all these countries have done in the past for them to become a country? Do you think about that? Do you look at it in this way, that without our... Okay, let me ask one question. I hope we are on number 7, right? Did you hear that all of them issued declaration? And all of them is in exile. And those who lost their country issue a redeclaration. Can you simply understand that without this our redeclaration, that Biafra can never become a country and achieve recognition? The veteran in America is not given recognition of a country. The veteran have no right to present a cause of a country. The veterans that in the IPOB was governed around with in America. But this is America that all these countries I mentioned up to number 7, all of them bypassed them, said, we don't want the politics of America. We don't want that to happen in Washington, D.C. Let us go to country so we can be able to achieve our recognition. Today, all of them are country without having one lobby and one congressman. And the painful part of it is that this congressman has no power to grant any recognition. They do not have any power to grant recognition. And recognition is not coming by any congressman. Recognition is not coming by any lobby. Recognition comes by, like these 7 countries I have mentioned so far, they work towards their country. The fellow countries in Africa first. They start from home. They start from African countries, forming allies. And you cannot form allies without issue a peaceful redeclaration. You can't form any ally without issue a declaration. You must present. The declaration is a day that people gathered and they sign. This is what we want. This is our name. They agree. They sign their signature on it. That signature make it legal. This is it not the criteria that USB has adopted? I want to tell me, maybe if I'm getting it wrong, if I'm getting it wrong, please. I stand to be corrected. Do you believe with all these histories, all this research I'm doing, that USB is the only solution? That USB is on the right track? That they are not, because somebody will say, why the USB is not championing congressmen? Who are the congressmen? Who are these lobbyists? Do they read more than Ushe? Do they be educated more than the Biafran government in exile that issue declaration? Those and the cabinet members this time around, do they read more than them? You see, they want to use they are using a white man face to deceive you. They are using this small boy, this criminal called Elias to deceive you. See, whoever goes to the lawyer's chamber, whatever lawyer can do to keep you, for your case to continue going, so you can be able to continue the money, the lawyer will do it. That is why you have adjournment upon adjournment in the courtroom. Don't you think that matter that brings you can end one day? If that matter end one day, how are they going to be able to get their salary? That is what Ogenkere is doing. That is what Elias is doing. Ogenkere, Poppy, Ogenkere Aziasa, Poppy, Sonaprawa Aziasa, Poppy, Peter Azasa. That is Poppy, sir, Poppy, sir. That's what they are doing to them. On this number 7, I want to let us look at the power of recognition. Who are those that has power to recognize, even if it's the government in exile? One minute. I want to do something. That is why I paused. I want to give you, for you to know that there is no way congressmen is because of them that we are going to achieve recognition. No, they are far from the road. They are very, very far from the road. As I'm also playing you countries that they refuse to accept anything called congressmen, anything called white man, supremacy to fight for them. They said no. They do it by themselves. I said what? They are the one that do it by themselves. They do it what? By themselves. The congressman has no legal power to force or to tell anybody to recognize USB. It's USB and their effort, and the document of USB declared is the only way we can do that, not by congressmen, my people. I said what? Not by congressmen. All these things that our people are doing, until we start reasoning Biafra beyond this level where we are, until we start reasoning Biafra beyond this, all this local group, all these people that are deceiving you, they are not holding Biafra not to become a country. But you that is following them and you that is sharing their program is the one that are making them to go viral. You are the one that are doing what? Delaying the movement. Based on this program today, do you see that USB declared is doing everything humanly possible for us to achieve recognition of Biafra? And do you also understand from today, the recognition does not based on Washington D.C., that over 15 countries in Africa never passed through the congressmen. They said, no, we don't need them. We don't need them. We are going to do it by ourselves. And these 7 achieved by themselves. If I'm lying, something I present to you up to 7 different countries, that this is only the way they are all become a country today. 7. Ọkwasị na ife ofe onye kwuru bụ asị. But nke a abụrụgo ihe mmadụ na-asa na-ekwu. Nke a abụrụgo ihe mmadụ 7 mere na 7 country. How they achieve recognition. How they achieve their recognition without passing congressmen. They bypass congressmen. They bypass anything that happened to do with Western Union and anything that happened to do with all these countries in the world. And all these UN, they only work first towards countries in Africa. Their check all of them. Their first ever recognition comes from their fellow African country. Before the United Nations now decide to recognize them, when 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries recognize you, the UN will start talking about you. The UN will start talking about you. So it simply means that recognition only comes via what? First, Government-in-Exile that issue a peaceful declaration or redeclaration of the lost country. This is how this recognition we are looking for will come. It does not depend on a congressman. I said what? It doesn't depend on any congressman. The congressmen in Washington D.C., they are what? Doing their own politics there. And look at all these countries bypass them. They quickly achieve recognition. All these countries that bypass congressmen, all of them quickly achieve what? Recognition quickly. So it's only in our own case that you want us to remain with congressmen, that without congressmen, we can never achieve recognition. It is not true anyway. It's never happened before, and it cannot see us to happen. If these 7 countries can achieve it, these are lies of Ogenkere. These are lies of Elias. These are lies of Sonia Akurawa, the Lai Muhammad of our time. These are the lies of the old fool called Petty. These are the lies that this woman is presenting. And that is why the word said that if you want to hide a truth from a black man, put it on a reading note document they can never go and read. Put it what? On a reading document that they will never go into read at all. That is what is happening. That is what we are passing through. Until we start reading document, until we start doing research, until we start proving to the world that what you are hiding from, we have get it. And now we are on the right track. we need to do everything to prove to the world that those things that you are hiding from us, that we have laid our hand on it, and we have understand our mistake, and we are here to correct those mistakes for us to achieve our recognition. It does not depend on any congressman. I said what? It doesn't depend on any congressman. They do not have power to grant us recognition, and we will never achieve recognition because of congressmen or lobby. Rather, they are even delay it. They will delay it to come. Before they will do their politics, they will make sure that they have make us. And now that we have a government structure, the effective of a government that the world will see, or every state or every country want to organize us, they want to see the effectiveness of US declared. They want to see how we handle our internal matters. They want to also see how we are doing everything by ourselves, not to depend on anybody. Look at it. Eritrea said, we don't want to depend on any white man or anything happen that has to do with Washington D.C. They said that they do not want to join hands. They do not want anything that lead them to whatever that is coming to Washington D.C. That they want to remain and prove that we are a country on their own, not by any mere mortal, not by any individual, but by what? By we, the people of Angola, the people of Algeria, the people of Namibia. They do it by themselves. They never use lobby. They never use congressmen. But today I'm asking you, all of them, are they not a country? All these people, all these countries that you know today in Africa, are they not country today? Are they not country today? It's everything about us. Our people want to use every opportunity to claim authority, to make money. That is part of the thing that is holding Biafra to become a country. In every opportunity, we want to make money with that opportunity. In every little chance, narrow escape, where our people control, what they need is money. That is what Ogenkere is doing today. Do you know how much the government is paying Ogenkere? That due to Ogenkere, how many people are supporting their fundraising? Can you think at all? How much are you giving in the fundraising for Ogenkere that is paying $10,000 to this bonga fish, to this small boy? Because of his color is white. That is why we are following him. And I am here talking because of you see me as a black man. You can't like my program, you can't share. He's not a black man, I know very well. But look at the small boy that is all of you are contributing money and giving. But when we are telling you the gospel truth, what they had from us, we bring it out. Ask Elias to quote one UN charter, one Montevideo Convention, one Geneva Convention, one Vienna Convention that supports his criminality. Ask him to quote the article of law that supports the rubbish he's doing. Ask him. You are following him. I have proved to you that this organization we are looking for is not coming by any congressman. I said what? It's not coming by any congressman. And the congressman has no power when it's come to this. There is things that we must focus our attention on it. Let us tell the world that we, the Biafran people, have taken upon ourselves that we are not dependent on any ally. We are not depending on anybody to organize us because we understand what it means for us to have Biafra as a country. We are following the existing road that people has passed and achieved their country.
Offices. Their path to universal international recognition was cemented in 1993 through a flawless, UN-monitored referendum, turning a structural reality on the ground into de jure statehood. 8. South Africa, ANC in exile, the administration, African National Congress, ANC. The strategy, banned by the apartheid regime in 1960, the ANC transitioned into a highly organized government in exile, establishing its international administrative headquarters in Lusaka, Zambia. The ANC achieved global legitimacy and isolated the apartheid state not via backroom political favors in Washington, but through the moral clarity of the Freedom Charter, regional frontline alliances, and a massive global grassroots anti-apartheid movement.
Are you hearing it?
9. Zimbabwe, ZANU and ZAPU,
I will only
the
play these
administration,
areas
Zimbabwe
and
African National Union, and Zimbabwe African People's Union. The strategy, operating external administrative and military commands from Zambia and Mozambique during the unrecognized minority rule of Ian Smith's Rhodesia, these movements established a parallel governance structure. They achieved international recognition as the legitimate voices of the Zimbabwean people through the 1979 Lancaster House Agreement, relying on regional pressure from the frontline states rather than American political capital.
Are you hearing it?
10. Mozambique, Frelimo, the administration, Liberation Front of Mozambique, Frelimo. The strategy, operating its political and administrative headquarters in exile from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, under the protection of Julius Nyerere. Frelimo created fully functional governance systems, schools, health centers, and trade networks inside its liberated zones. Their international legitimacy was recognized by the OAU and Nordic countries based on this concrete administrative competence, forcing Portugal to transfer power directly to Frelimo during the Lusaka Accords of 1974. 11. São Tomé and Príncipe, MLSTP, the administration, Movement for the Liberation of São Tomé and Príncipe, MLSTP. The strategy, established in 1972, the MLSTP set up its government in exile and administrative heart in Libreville, Gabon. By gaining formal recognition from the OAU as the sole legitimate representative of the island's people, they bypasses traditional Western diplomatic routes entirely. Following political shifts in Europe, this recognized administrative status allowed them to seamlessly take over governance and declare full independence in 1975. 12. Equatorial Guinea, URG, Opposition in Exile, the administration, various historical provisional councils in exile. The strategy, during the severe dictatorial repressions of the late 20th century, various broad coalitions established administrative factions and provisional governments in exile in neighboring Gabon and Spain. Rather than engaging in Western legislative lobbying, these groups focused heavily on documenting human rights records and working through regional Central African blocs to maintain a continuous, legally recognized alternative to the regime. 13. Comoros, the Anjouan and Moheli administrative precedents, the administration, local island organs. The strategy, in 1997, the islands of Anjouan and Moheli individually issued unilateral declarations of independence from the Central Comorian state due to severe economic neglect. While seeking a redeclaration of their administrative terms, they operated completely separate, localized governing administrations for years. They sustained their structures through local consensus and direct, regional mediation with the African Union, independent of any external Western intervention. 14. Tunisia, Neo Destor, National Movement, the administration, the national movement leadership in exile. The strategy, during the height of French colonial crackdowns in the early 1950s, the core political leadership of Tunisia established external operations across the Arab world and Switzerland. They issued systematic declarations regarding the restoration of Tunisian autonomy and sovereignty. Their administrative legitimacy was sustained by powerful domestic labor unions, the UGTT, and regional solidarity, forcing France to recognize Tunisian autonomy in 1954 and full independence in 1956. 15. Madagascar, MDRM, Pro-Independence Council, the administration, Democratic Movement for Malagasy Restoration, MDRM. The strategy, following the massive nationalist uprisings of 1947, the foundational leadership of the MDRM and associated nationalist councils established deep external networks to challenge French colonial rule. They rejected Western metropolitan lobbying, instead anchoring their claims in the legal promises of the Atlantic Charter and the UN framework regarding the rights of colonial peoples, preserving the continuous administrative identity of the Malagasy nation until full sovereignty was restored in 1960. The administrative takeaway, across all 15 historical and contemporary examples, the overriding legal truth remains constant. Sovereign legitimacy is built from the inside out. True, lasting international recognition is achieved when an administration proves it possesses a defined population, a clear territory, and the distinct institutional capacity to govern, fulfilling the classical international law standards of statehood independently of external political favors.
We will come back from number 8 and we will explain it down. Remember, from number 1 to number 7, which I will play it again for you to listen to it properly. Use it and go out and ask these criminals to come and debunk it. Let them come out to come and debunk it. Before that, I want you to also listen to the backup when I said that under international law, Congressmen has no power to grant anybody recognition. Lobby has no job to do. After you have issued your declaration, you are the one to succeed with those signatures on that document to prove to the world, look at the number, look at our document, look at who we are, look at this, look at this, look at what we are trying to build, and look at what we can offer to the world. This is how it goes.
Under international law, countries, sovereign states, hold the power of international recognition. Your congressman has zero power to grant formal recognition. This distinction rests on the fundamental principles of how international relations and domestic constitutional law operate. 1. Countries have the power under international law. Under customary international law, recognition is a sovereign act that can only be performed by one state toward another entity, an aspiring state or a new government. Recognition. It acts. This recognition establishes formal diplomatic protections between the two nations. 2. What? A congressman is a single legislator within one branch of a domestic government.
Please, can you hear the voice?
A member of a legislature cannot bind their nation to an official act.
Can you hear it, please? I want to know if you can hear the voice.
Domestic frameworks.
Because today I'm having serious.
The executive holds the power. The power of recognition belongs entirely to the executive branch, the president and the state.
Can you hear the audio voice, please?
Branch, Congress. The legal precedent, the U.S. Supreme Court firmly established this in the landmark case, Zivotofsky versus Kerry, 2015. The court ruled that the president has the exclusive and preclusive power to recognize foreign sovereigns and their territorial boundaries. Summary of roles. Entity. Power of recognition. What they can actually do. Countries. States. Yes. Legally acknowledge a new state or government in exile under international law. The president/executive, yes, act as the sole organ of the country to officially grant or withhold that recognition. A congressman, no, introduce non-binding resolutions, voice political support, or influence foreign aid funding, but they cannot legally recognize a foreign government. The takeaway: if a government in exile is seeking formal international recognition, a sympathetic congressman can champion their cause in speeches or propose resolutions, but only the executive leader of a country can actually sign the papers that make that recognition legally valid.
I hope you had it. No, see, under the international law, there is, see, Biafra is only being delayed recognition because of we on our own has never got to that standard of the purely international law. Check what we like to listen to. Check what we want to discuss. We want to open YouTube and discuss IPOB. We need to open S handle for us to discuss for us to discuss all this nekachimezi. Those we discuss is level where we are. The level of people that we are discussing, we are watching, we are listening, is the level where we are. Take it or you leave it. No matter what you like, debunk it tomorrow, we must have saboteur. You see these 15 countries, if I start now playing you the organization that was against this their declaration, a man and nothing, in that we are seeing that has happened before. I remember when this was happening, but we asked us that we should stop attack, we should focus, we should set our eyes on the ball. Now, after our declaration, we must set our eyes on the ball of the international global community as the only way we can achieve Biafra. None of all these organizations will stop usually declared to achieve recognition. None of them. They can never stop us. And there is no amount of saboteur, there is no amount of organization, there is no amount of all these betrayers that will make the international community to say, no, you have too much group. What of Namibia as an example? Anything that we are passing through today has happened somewhere before. It has happened somewhere before. So let us listen from number 1 to number 7 again. Let us listen to that again. Yes, all these criminal lobbyists. Now, the question, who asked that question? Someone answered me that question here when I asked. So, if all these 15 countries can achieve their own without lobby and congressmen, with what USB is presenting to the world, don't you think we can overdo it without lobby and congressmen? Now, do you see with all this example of Africans that when you issue declaration, that what you have to do is to work with the countries that are around you. All these countries change the recognition. Their first ever recognition comes from the first African countries. It's very good when they said charity begins at home. The charity begins at home in the case of looking for better recognition must start from the African countries. And the first place we see USB send our allies to go, send our diplomatic movement to go and talk to African people is in Burkina Faso. Do you forget about that video that's happened? The Adiboki summit in Burkina Faso, that USB send delegates to visit them and submit that is what they call diplomatic movement. Sending our document to every country in Africa, or even those that have recognized us before. This is what we have to do. When Ojukwu achieved recognition, when he declares Biafra, how many love does he use? Can anybody, have you come in the history to have how many names of lobby that Ojukwu used first before he achieved recognition from African countries? Can you tell me the name of his congressmen? It's only that a criminal must always be a criminal. That is why these criminal 4 people, I know why I take 4 of them. Because they are the one that are championing, they are gullible, deceiving those that like them. There is nothing you can do in this world. There's nothing you can debunk Kwarade Orama. There's nothing you can debunk Ogen. There's nothing you can debunk Nneka Chimezi. There's nothing you can debunk IPOB. People that like them, bed of the same feather must flock together. Show me your friend. I will tell you who you are. Those words does not see us start, and it can never see us to stop. All these things must happen for Biafran movement, for Biafran history to be well completed. Please, if you want to join me, you can, because in the next
The history of African state restoration, decolonization, and self-determination provides a robust blueprint for how nations establish institutional legitimacy.
Now, how a nation established
successfully formed governments in exile, issued sovereign declarations, re-declarations, and secured official international recognition. Crucially, these administrations achieved their legal standing not by hiring expensive public relations firms or lobbying politicians in Washington,
Are you hearing it?
but by relying strictly on effective administrative control, regional diplomacy, and established international legal frameworks, such as the right to self-determination and the Montevideo criteria. Here are 15 of the most significant examples across Africa that demonstrate this specific path to legal sovereignty and administrative statehood. 1. Algeria, GPRA, the administration, the Government Provisoire de la République Algérienne, GPRA, was formed in 1958 as the Provisional Government in Exile of Algeria during its liberation struggle against France. The strategy, operating out of Cairo, Egypt, and Tunisia, the GPRA built an entire parallel diplomatic corps. Instead of looking to Western capitals, they secured immediate, formal recognition from across Africa, Asia, and the Arab world. Their unyielding administrative structure eventually forced France to sign the Evian Accords, legalizing Algeria's full sovereignty. 2. Western Sahara, Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SADR, the administration, the Polisario Front. The strategy: following the abrupt departure of Spain in 1976, the Polisario Front issued a formal, unilateral declaration of sovereignty, establishing the SADR. Operating its administrative headquarters and government in exile from the Tindouf region, the SADR achieved massive structural recognition strictly through international law. They bypassed Washington politics entirely, successfully securing official recognition from over 80 sovereign states and obtaining full, founding member status in the African Union. 3. Namibia, SWAPO, the administration, Southwest Africa People's Organization, SWAPO. The strategy: during South Africa's illegal administrative occupation of their territory, SWAPO established its administrative headquarters in exile in Lusaka, Zambia, and Luanda, Angola. They focused entirely on international legal mechanisms. By working through regional African alliances and the United Nations, they secured a landmark declaration from the UN General Assembly recognizing SWAPO as the sole and authentic representative of the Namibian people, leading directly to full independence via UN Resolution 435.
We can continue like
4.
that.
Guinea-Bissau,
We are doing
PAIGC,
one thing, like
the administration,
today,
African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde, PAIGC. The strategy: led by the theorist Amilcar Cabral, the movement operated its primary administrative and political infrastructure.
Please like and share the program if you can.
In September 1973, before the physical conflict with Portugal had even concluded, the PAIGC gathered its National Assembly in the liberated forests of Boe and issued a peaceful, unilateral declaration of statehood. Over 80 nations recognized the new state within weeks based on the PAIGC's effective administrative control on the ground, completely bypassing Western legislative channels. 5. Angola, GREY, the administration, the Government-in-Exile de la République Angolaise, GREY. The strategy: formed in 1962 by the FNLA and led by Holden Roberto, this formal government in exile established its administrative capital in Leopoldville, now Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of the Congo. The GREY sought to present a fully realized, operational alternative to the colonial regime. It secured official recognition from the Organization of African Unity, OAU, and multiple North African states strictly through regional geopolitical alignment, completely independent of American political influence. 6. Somaliland, the administration, the Somali National Movement, SNM, and the Council of Elders, GERTI. The strategy: following the collapse of the central government in Mogadishu, the leaders and traditional elders of the northern region convened the Grand Conference of Barrow in May 1991. They issued a peaceful redeclaration of independence, dissolving the voluntary 1960 constitutional union. Somaliland has built a fully functioning state with its own constitution, currency, military, and biometric voting system. It maintains de facto international relations completely independent of Western lobbying, relying instead on local institutional stability and indigenous conflict resolution, ZIR. 7. Eritrea, EPLF, the administration, Eritrean People's Liberation Front, EPLF. The strategy: fighting a multi-decade battle for self-determination, the EPLF rejected any reliance on foreign superpowers or professional lobbyists. Instead, they built highly sophisticated, parallel administrative, educational, and medical networks within their liberated zones and diaspora offices. Their path to universal international recognition was cemented in 1993 through a flawless, UN-monitored referendum, turning a structural reality on the ground into de jure statehood. 8. South Africa,
Like I said, these 8 will be discussed tomorrow, down to number 15, and the more of them. Because when you leave our people, the truth is in the document. And we need to take our time to check all those write-up of the world, how every country achieved their own. With how every country achieved their own, can't you see that USB government is moving through that direction? That we are just replicating the history right now, how all this country, without using congressmen, without using lobby, achieve their own nation. And like I said, all these shenanigans of congressmen, like I said, none of them has grants any country recognition. They do not have the power to grant anyone recognition. And the recognition is not coming from any country, from any organization or from any individual. Recognition only comes from countries in Africa that recognize USB without lobby. If a whole 15 country or more than that in Africa can achieve their country today without having one congressman that are speaking for them, if all these countries can bypass congressmen, and today all of them are a country in this 21st century, what else are you looking for? What else? Why do we have to give them money? Imagine a small country like Guinea-Bissau is not up to, I don't know whether they're up to 2 million people. I don't know exactly their number. But imagine that small country said, and how they are, that we don't need any congressmen. They said, we bypassed politics that's happening in Washington, D.C., that the best way for us is go to tour to visit every country in Africa first and give them our document. While we are doing that, let's go to Asia and give them our countries, our peaceful declaration. Why doing that? Let's go to the Europe, and anyone that comes is okay, but let it be that we have sent it to them. Is it not what US declared is doing at this 21st century that we're into? If 15 countries in Africa alone said to hell to Washington, D.C. and the congressmen, that we don't need them. Imagine how they put the word, that they don't want the politics that is going on in Washington, D.C., that they do not want their shenanigan, that they believe that they can do it by themselves. Is it only we cannot do it on our own self, in our own time? Are we not smarter? Are we not educated more than these people? When you look at the history, you find out that we are also repeating the history. Look at Somaliland, issue a redeclaration 2 times. They lost the first one, they redeclare again. Upon that, they redeclare the second one. They said, we bypass congressmen and lobby. We have to do the lobby by ourselves. We have to be the government by ourselves. That is why they have offices that is working in US. If any office is not working, please, EPM, do not hesitate to trash them out. We can never have a listless cabinet member. We can't have any listless cabinet member this time. We can't have portfolio cabinet members. No, every office must do their job. If they are not doing it, take them away. Biafrans that are ready to work are out there. We look for them, give them the position, let them work. We want those that are very smart, intelligent, that are very focused and fearless at this point in time. The time we are into, they are not thinking about the time. They only focus on what they will gain. But we must prove to the world, if anybody in US government, because of what you will gain, you must leave this government. You must leave the government. We owe you no apology, and it's not your father's property. We cannot condone laziness in US government. So USB and cabinet member, if you know you can't do the work quickly and prove to the world that we have Biafra has the worst time to be a country, if you can't do that, quickly resign. We want those who cannot do the work to resign. Not only when you see what you will gain, then you start championing USB. You start talking like you have. Look at names of country here. You in the cabinet members, you are the congressman of Biafran people. You are the lobby. Go and do your job. You will not allow only our DPM or about church. What are you contributing? What are you doing? Which office? Which country are you reaching out to? Ina-eche Ngozarabeze, ina-eche Fam Diana, ina-eche ndị nke na n'onu ha mgbe ọbụla nọ ha ka ọ dịrị. Ị na-emekwana gị n'ebe anwa, ị bịara quiet space. There is no lazy space in USB declared. Anybody who is lazy, who doesn't know his position and his what he's supposed to do, trash them out. From na government or 3 months everywhere. My father said, "Nabaka buy a 3 as off up to wear for 2 or first or wear for first 2 weeks every day. After 2 weeks, in the next 3 months, as Ryan will disappear. Because many are in this because of they want to put their name there and their picture. That is why they are there. Like I said, what we are doing is what all of us need to reason at this time. We need to ask ourselves, what is holding us? What is that thing that is holding Biafra? If almost 15 or to 30 countries in Africa said, we don't want congressmen, we can never use them, we don't want any lobby office, any lobby firm, we are the lobby, we are the congressmen. You in US declared, are you one of the lobby, are you one of the congressmen? If you cannot put yourself in that position, kindly resign. Don't be there and be gossiping around. We don't want lazy government. We don't want lazy cabinet members. We want active, authentic, active government. When you speak, people listen. When you take action, when you give people a document, the world will recognize it very well. If I see you, River Goddess, I see you. Maureen, I see you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's continue. Let's continue. Let me play it once again to down up to the 15 of their names that is said, that they said, get out, Congress, get out, lobby, like Elias. Get out, congressmen. We don't need you you don't have any power to make us to become a country. It's in our hand to prove the effective structure of a government in exile. All of them in exile. About 30 countries in Africa, through exile, they achieved recognition via in Africa first. That's why our DPM is not possible. They have all Africa countries has got our recognition, our declaration document. The highest number that achieved USB declared document is from Africa.
ANC in exile, the administration, African National Congress, ANC. The strategy, banned by the apartheid regime in 1960, the ANC transitioned into a highly organized government in exile, establishing its international administrative headquarters in Lusaka, Zambia. The ANC achieved global legitimacy and isolated the apartheid state not via backroom political favors in Washington, but through the moral clarity of the Freedom Charter, regional
not be a backroom in Washington D.C. Imagine NHCO of South Africa, that an apartheid regime, is the one. They are the one that we are hearing here. They are the one that the world is mentioning. How they refuse to use congressmen. Nesting Mandela time.
Global grassroots anti-apartheid movement. 9. Zimbabwe, ZANU and ZAPU, the administration, Zimbabwe African National Union and Zimbabwe African People's Union. The strategy, operating external administrative and military commands from Zambia and Mozambique during the unrecognized minority rule of Ian Smith's Rhodesia, these movements established a parallel governance structure. They achieved international recognition as the legitimate voices of the Zimbabwean people through the 1979 Lancaster House Agreement, relying on regional pressure from the frontline states rather than American political capital. 10. Mozambique, Frelimo, the administration, Liberation
Do you
Front
know
of
Mozambique in
Frelimo.
Africa?
The strategy,
are not a country
operating
today.
its political and administrative
They did not
headquarters
use-
in exile from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania,
Look at exile,
under the
exile,
protection of
exile.
Julius Nyerere. Frelimo created fully functional governance systems, schools, health centers, and trade networks inside its liberated zones. Their international legitimacy was recognized by the OAU and Nordic countries based on this concrete administrative competence. forcing Portugal to transfer power directly to Frelimo during the Lusaka Accords of 1974. 11. São Tomé and Príncipe, MLSTP, the administration, Movement for the Liberation of São Tomé and Príncipe, MLSTP. The strategy, established in 1972, the MLSTP set up its government in exile.
Look at it. So one thing about all this that you will hear that they start from organization name.
The OAU as the
they start with organization name. They end up becoming a
traditional Western diplomatic routes
by issue declaration. 15 of them here, all of them issue declaration. Those who lost their own issue any declaration.
In 1975. 12. Equatorial Guinea.
Look at it, Equatorial Guinea.
In exile. The administration. Various historical
transition from exile.
In exile.
Child.
The strategy. During the severe dictatorial repressions of the late 20th century, various broad coalitions established administrative factions and provisional governments in exile in neighboring Gabon and Spain. Rather than engaging in Western legislative lobbying, these groups focused heavily on documenting human rights records and working through regional Central African blocs to maintain a continuous, legally recognized alternative to the regime. 13. Comoros, the Anjouan and Moheli administrative
Comoros, look at them.
Local
all of them in exile.
The strategy,
they transition, they issue declaration. Those who lost was really clear. You had it here like Somaliland, like Angola, like many of them. It's only our own case. Our Biafra is our own case different because your stupidity and your rubbish in your head is why Biafra is so different from every other person. Because using the black man's brain, how you do is the problem. Not the name of Biafra is the problem. It's you.
Independent of any external Western intervention. 14. Tunisia, Neo Destor, National Movement, the administration, the national movement leadership in exile. The strategy, during the height of French colonial crackdowns in the early 1950s, the core political leadership of Tunisia established external operations across the Arab world and Switzerland. They issued systematic declarations regarding the restoration of Tunisian autonomy and sovereignty. Their administrative legitimacy was sustained by powerful domestic labor unions, the UGTT, and regional solidarity, forcing France to recognize Tunisian autonomy in 1954 and full independence in 1956. 15. Madagascar, MDRM, Pro-Independence Council, the administration, Democratic Movement for Malagasy Restoration, MDRM. The strategy, following the massive nationalist uprisings of 1947, the foundational leadership of the MDRM and associated nationalist councils established deep external networks to challenge French colonial rule. They rejected Western metropolitan lobbying, instead anchoring their claims in the legal promises of the Atlantic Charter and the UN framework regarding the rights of colonial peoples, preserving the continuous administrative identity of the Malagasy nation until full sovereignty was restored in 1960. The administrative takeaway. Across all 15 historical and contemporary examples, the overriding legal truth remains constant. Sovereign legitimacy is built from the inside out. True, lasting international recognition is achieved when an administration proves it possesses a defined population, a clear territory, and the distinct institutional capacity to govern, fulfilling the classical international law standards of statehood independently of external political favors.
I hope you listening carefully that all of them achieved their awards, their recognition, not by congressmen, after they have proven that they have met the criteria of what? Population, defined territory, capacity, effective government. These are 4 criteria that USB has met. These 4 cardinal points is what USB declared we have overmet this criteria. This criteria is not being given by the congressmen. This criteria is not given by any lobby. It's we, the Biafran people. Look at a small boy that people are presenting to you. And you forgot that IPOB present Bruce Fem to come and collect money. And that once a white man come, hey, they will give us money. And what happened? Biafrans failed him under Simon Ebanjoko. The same way the Biafran has failed this criminal. The only way Ogen create Elias or now Petty is parading themselves because the money they are getting from Nigerian government is what they are using. Now, yes, Madam Rose, thank you so much. You have see from our DPM the press release of the one new solution, IPOB USB. Honestly, when I say what I reply to our DPM is that you are very, very on point at this time, the right time with the right word, where we needed it so much to rewrite every wrong names that has been beard for the people of before, to proving that these people of IPO is the full citizen of United States of Biafra. Also, I put the link there in case you want to join us, because in the next 20 minutes, I am winding down the program. So please, what I ask you is that like and share the program. Anytime you watch the program, please hit the like button. If you know that you don't like to like the program, go to where you like. I'm not sure it's a free word, but I read USB Research TV. This is the only program I can ever handle in my page, because they are educating me more and more. You heard what our DPM wrote on her S handle. If you've never been there, please go and check. One new solution, IPOB USB. IPOB USB. USB of the rising sun. USB we move. This is a new release by our amiable DPM. Please go and check her S right now. You need to go after this program, go and check our DPM so you can see. What is Elias? I want Elias to give us a backup of this shenanigan he's doing today. If up to from 1 to 15 countries in Africa can achieve it without having one lobby, one congressman, I'm asking you, we the Biafran people, are we not going to do more than these 15 countries here? Depend that we are the light of Africa. Depend that we are the one who make Africa to get back to their roots back. Don't you think that we can do it on our own? And that is when you look at it, when I check USB cabinet members, I see men and women who understand why they are there and who are repeating this history of all these 15 countries that have achieved recognition without one lobby, without one Congress, without going to Washington D.C. They said, we bypass this thing of Washington D.C. The politics in Washington D.C., we bypass it. We are not going to join this politics. We only need to achieve our country by ourselves. We only need to achieve our country by ourselves, not by any congressman, not by any lobby. 15, from 1 to 5. From 1 to 15. If this 15 in Africa can do it, even you may say, oh, it's in the old. Do you want 21st century? I'll bring it for you. Those have achieved through without any one Congress, any lobby in this 21st century that we are into. Do you need it for you to believe what this program? Is what you need? If that will tell me that's not what you need, then I will bring it for you. So you can see it with your clear eyes, with your crow eyes. That these 4 criminals at back of this my page, they are the one sabotaging the movement. They are the one that Nigerians is being sponsored the same way South Africa sponsored 4 organizations against SWAPO that issued the declaration of Namibia. The same thing is happening, and you fall, you follow. You are apologizing to Mas Simon right now. And what happened that time Mas Simon was here that you are apologizing for has happened, and you still went ahead to be on a wrong path, and you are claiming you are apologizing to Simon Heba. Any apology you are to Simon Heba from any group you are without being under USB is useless apology. The apology can no hold ground. The apology goes nowhere. Your apology is just, in fact, you are wasting your time, because we, the Biafran people, we have understand what is our problem, and that is what USB has given to the world. What is that? Through our peaceful declaration under the law of the UN of the remedial section, the only way to achieve Biafra is by issue a peaceful declaration and go to countries to seek recognition, not by the congressmen, not by Washington D.C. Washington D.C. is not going recognition. What they do there is politics. What they do there is what? Politics. To cover lies and deceit. To cover what? Lies and deceit is what they are doing, the congressmen inside Washington D.C. That is why Nigeria can lobby for their crime against money to be covered up for them. Can't you see that's what I need? What we need? We need our government. We need to prove to the world that we understand what we want. What do you want? Me, I want Biafra as a country. Is it what you want? Do you want Biafra as a country? Do you really want Biafra as a country? If you want Biafra as a country, that is why you must join USB declared. Without you joining USB declared, you are wasting your time for nothing. Out of all the government in exile in this world that have issued the declaration, or without that, there is no BGC, there is no CRC, there is no fake fallback Brigio Genkere. What is there is the name United States of Biafra as the only authentic, original government in exile for the people of Biafra. Stop deceiving yourself. Stop digging grave for your unborn children and your generation. Stop. Stop digging grave for your unborn generation. Stop using your hand to sentence yourself. Because in all you are doing, the constitution of the USB must be implemented. So, let us listen to this as I'm rounding up. Gordon, I did not understand what you asked me. If you know, maybe you are at work, you could have just used the link and enter so you can clarify me very well. We will achieve our country without any congressmen, without any lobby. Have you asked this question before? How many countries in the world have gotten the recognition or self-determination through emotion and pity from the world power? Zero. Like what IPOB is claiming today. All those things is just a politics talk. And all those things is not helping anywhere at all. So when you listen to all this and how many countries and what we are doing, where USB stand today, you will understand that Biafra recognition is very, very close to you. Our own is in our hand. When you support USB, if you are rendering any apology today against Simon Ekpanjoko, and you are not USB declared, you are doing yourself more harm than good. Now, I want to play this for you, if the network will allow me. How many countries achieved the recognition without or because of congressmen? It's a 0 country. But many have achieved it in the past. When we are now that Biafra has been declared, and you think that for us to achieve recognition, that we will start doing some things that the world don't know about it. Whatever we are doing today, the world knows what we are doing. They are there monitoring us. They are there watching us closely. They want to see our movement and what we are doing. So, we have gone beyond those surge for me. We have gone beyond all this IPOB, how we are doing. Now, the government just give us this. That is what we represent our people. And why they written to debunk Elias and Ogenkre that are moving around, sleeping, having backdoor meeting in Washington D.C, claiming they are fighting for you. It's a time to use the reality and debunk all their lies. And also make the world understand that we know what we are doing. That is why the U.S. government is not championing congressmen at this stage. The congressmen can never give us Biafra as a country. Yes, it simply means indigenous people of United States of Biafra from our DPM. Do you understand it? It simply means IPOB simply means indigenous people of Biafra. Now it simply means indigenous people of United States of Biafra. That is what that is not who we are. We are no longer the organization, but rather we are the indigenous people of a country called United States of Biafra. That is who we are. That is why that post from her is very excellent. That post from a DPM is too excellent at this time. Is to correct all the wrong that they are doing. That all these names, those who are moving around, everybody who is an under IP, unless you believe in IPOB organization, without that, who you are indigenous person of United States of Biafra. You are a full citizen of US declared. So she has taken it to fact to them to understand that all these things that all of you are claiming has ended. We are no longer organization, but rather we are a country waiting for recognition. Like all these 15 countries I play you here, that all of them transition into government in exile and issue a peaceful redeclaration. Today, they are all country. So, Gonaya, I hope you have understand it clearly. That should be our slogan. That is what when you have those who are critical thinking at this stage we are into. Honestly, we really need this way she put it. Now, I want to play you this as I'm closing the program. My question is, if an American president decides to organize government in exile, will he pass it to Congress to debate over it? If Donald Trump, if any president of any country wants to grant any country recognition, do they have to pass it through a congressman? Do they? That is the question. So listen to this. If the network will allow me to play it.
The Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, and the U.S. Department of Justice.
Can you hear the audio, please?
Do not have the power to grant or deny official recognition to a foreign government or government in exile. As established, that power belongs solely to the president. Instead, FARA and the DOJ act as the gatekeepers of transparency and national security when an unrecognized government or any foreign entity tries to lobby
Sorry, my hand changed it.
No, the president does not need to pass the decision to Congress for debate or approval. Under U.S. constitutional law, the power to recognize foreign states and governments belongs exclusively to the president. Here is how that power breaks down in practice. 1. The exclusive executive power. The U.S. Constitution does not explicitly use the word recognition, but the Supreme Court has firmly established that this authority is implied through the President's Article 2 powers. Specifically, the Receive Ambassadors Clause, which directs the President to receive foreign diplomats, gives the executive branch sole authority to determine which political entity represents a foreign state. The definitive legal ruling on this came in the 2015 Supreme Court case, Zivotofsky versus Kerry. The court explicitly is not shared with Congress. The president has the unilateral right to make these calls, and Congress cannot pass laws that force the president to contradict their official recognition decisions. 2. Historical examples. Presidents have historically recognized or maintained relations with governments in exile entirely through executive action. World War II of the governments in exile of countries occupied by Nazi Germany, such as Poland, Norway, and the Netherlands, without seeking congressional permission. Cold War era. The US continued to recognize the diplomatic status of the exiled governments of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia after they were forcibly annexed by the Soviet Union. 3. Where Congress does have power, while Congress cannot vote to block or grant formal recognition, it isn't completely powerless. If Congress strongly disagrees with the president's choice to recognize a government in exile, it can use its power of the purse or legislative authority to complicate the decision by refusing to fund a new embassy or diplomatic mission for that government, blocking financial or military aid that the president wants to send to them, holding committee hearings to publicly criticize and debate the administration's foreign policy strategy. Ultimately, the formal act of saying the United States recognizes this government is a unilateral pen stroke by the president.
I hope you heard it that Congressman has no power. Lobby has nothing to offer for recognition. It ends in that their Washington D.C. Now, do you see why 15 or 30 countries in Africa said no? That we don't need to use lobby in this movement for us to achieve our country recognition. That they don't have the money to waste. After you have issued a redeclaration of a lost country and you have documents in your hand and you are looking for a lobby and you are using a congressman, I want to tell you, we are wasting our money. And the US has really find out. That is why after our declaration, the USB find out that, oh, we want to waste our money by using these people. What can they talk? What can they say to the world? We cannot be able to say to the world. And it is very obvious and very respectful when you are the one presenting your matter, your cause to the world. When you are the one that is presenting your matter, championing your cause to the world to know that you have met every standard criteria, it's not the congressman who will tell the world, oh, the people of Biafra has met all these criteria. They will see it by our action. They will see by things we do. That is how they are going to see it. It's not by what we think and how we feel. The criteria of recognition is not coming by any mortal. It's coming by under the international law, their principle, the existing laws. So today, you can understand that Ogenkere with their layers are just criminals you know very well. But I did this program to do what? To prove to them that this thing that you are doing and they are gullible, that's people that we don't need it. When we did them was when it was organization that we don't have a voice. When we were under Briggy, we don't have a voice. We have a voice on our own. The voice cannot represent us in the international community or to the congressmen. It's only the lobby. That is when you needed lobby to push your matter to put your matter on their ear as why they are waiting for redeclaration of our lost country. This bonga fish called Elias traveled to Finland for our peacefully declared and his own eyes. That is why there is evidence against him that all the money of the Biafran people that he's using through Ogenkere, there a time will come, They, two of them and all of them with petty, they will pay dearly. They will pay for this money. That's what? They will pay for it. Because of what? They know what they are doing. They know that they are committing crime at this time that we are into. They all know it. So based on that, we have proved to Ogenkere, Elias, and the Sonny criminal, and the old fool called Petty, who doesn't have a job in the British, that the British sees her document. So the only way she can get whatever she claims is by what she's doing today on a wrong path. And they also understand that USB is not sharing money to anyone. The United States of Biafra is not sharing money. They are not sharing money. Because the money we are contributing to our fundraising was meant to use to fight Biafran cause. Not to use it for the gullibles. Not to use it and the other people will be coming to take our money. No, it is a high time that you understand that what we have at this time, we need money to do the needful instead of dashing this criminal money. And why over 15 countries in Africa have achieved recognition without going to Congress? They said they bypass congressmen. They never use congressmen at all. They bypass it. Once they issue their declaration, and have the signature, have the document, they proceed. And they submitted it to the fellow countries in Africa. And through that, all of them achieved what? International recognition. That is what we are looking for today. They achieve it. And as African country first recognizes them, is proving that evidence of what? Charity begins at home. That the charity begins from where? At home. That is why we have to. That is why we must follow USD declared. That is why we must stand on the mandate. That is why we have to join to protect. It's not only on our DPM to do it alone. We all have to join her to do it at this stage that we are into. So please, I will play it once again. And after that, I am going to end the program. The only thing I ask you is, anytime that this program comes to your YouTube page, hit the like button and share the program via any way you can, so that's what will happen, that other people will see the message and they can easily, quickly do what? Hear the message. Please endeavor to do that. There is no way congressmen will be the one to organize us. And in the world, congressmen have never been the road that a country grants recognition to a government in exile. No. It's only countries that have seen you, that you have maintained the criteria that the world are looking for. That is the only time that the world will recognize you. That is the only time the countries that are monitoring USD right now will recognize us. That is the only time. That is the only time. There is no other time in this world. That is why we all must channel our energy and our strength, our money, and everything we have to support this government for us to go home. You not support this government, you are the one delaying. You are the one delaying. Listen to this as my last message for today.
If you mean this in the context of global geopolitics, the answer is virtually all of them. International recognition is a matter of international law and foreign relations between sovereign states. A congressman, a member of a domestic legislature like the United States Congress, has no legal role or power to grant international recognition to another country. Under international standards, such as the Montevideo Convention, a state achieves recognition when other sovereign governments choose to recognize it, usually handled exclusively by the executive branches or heads of state of those countries, or collectively through admission into the United Nations. However, if you are asking about how the United States specifically recognizes other countries, Here is how the legal mechanism works. The U.S. executive power over recognition. In the United States, Congress does not recognize foreign countries or governments. The power to grant diplomatic recognition belongs exclusively to the President, the executive branch. This means that all 193 member states of the United Nations that are recognized by the United States achieve that recognition without a vote or approval from a congressman. The constitutional basis, Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, gives the President the power to receive ambassadors and other public ministers. The legal precedent, the U.S. Supreme Court, firmly solidified this in the landmark 2015 case, Zivotofsky versus Kerry. The court ruled that the power to recognize foreign sovereigns is an exclusive executive power, and Congress cannot pass laws that force the president to contradict their official recognition policy. Can Congress influence recognition? While individual congressmen or Congress as a whole cannot formally recognize a country, they do hold indirect leverage through the power of the purse. They can vote to restrict or grant funding for embassies. They can pass non-binding resolutions expressing support for a territory's independence, such as statements regarding Taiwan or Kosovo. They can block or stall the confirmation of an ambassador appointed by the president to a newly recognized country. Ultimately, though, the official act of typing out a diplomatic note and recognizing a nation's sovereignty is done completely independently of the legislative branch.
I hope you listen to this last part of this program today. The congressmen, the lobby Ogenkere has no power, has no legal right to push for US be declared. Elias has no power, has no legal right. Elias only come that the first business he needs to do in his life is with Ogenkere, and someone he can quickly manipulate and deceive him and use lies so he can be able to get his money. He's in America with us. He said that he doesn't have a job, that he was passing by and he see Briggy and decided to come and knock. And he got a job. This is the first job he's getting in his entire life. The first job he's got. And when you find out that, oh, these people that refuse to sign us permanent for 1 year, that may dump us at any time, he looked for a gullible head like Ogenkere to work with. And sack and continuously the criminal who already has many criminal court cases in America, like Ogenkere, that this Elias is working with. So the criminal met his fellow criminal, so they know how they do it. Elias, you were a criminal. You don't have anything to offer people of Biafra. Nothing. Nothing. You have nothing to offer. Look at this small boy who is want to use Biafra to learn how to become a Congress, become a lobby. And you can only use the fake because you're a fake human being, fake like you to do that. So my people, thank you so much for being here. Until we come back again tomorrow, because of my time for work is up. I thank you. Till we come back, please like and share anytime this program enter into, you saw it on YouTube. The only thing I ask you is one thing, to like and share the program so others that will see it, we also listen to the program at this point that we are into, for them to know we don't need congressmen to achieve US recognition. We don't need them. Please like and share the program if you wish to do that. I'm not commanding you. So from me, from here, have a wonderful day.